G'day fellas and welcome. This is the most disgusting strategy you will ever see in Age of Empires 4. This is the reason stone walls are banned in Age of Empires 4 tournaments in the Feudal Age. I'm about to show you. I'm about to release this upon the ladder, so I do apologize in advance, but to make it up to you, I would just like to show you guys my win rate at the moment, 69%, and a lovely win rate, a very nice win rate. But without any further ado, let's get into the game. So I can tell you right now, it is a victory from my side. Now, you can do this strategy with any civilization, but in my opinion, the best is the Chinese, and there is a very specific reason why that is. So let's start just by talking about where this game goes and about how this game begins, because I want to show you the whole game. We're just going to run it slowly and talk a little bit about what the expectations are here for each player. Now, you probably would have seen on the thumbnail, you know, what the strategy looks like, and the question is, how do you get there without it being caught out by your enemies? So the opening here for me on the China is just your typical Chinese opening, where we see, you know, the straggler tree picked up and a mill put down next to the town center, and of course getting that extra sheep. Unfortunately, in the beginning of the game, we do send scouts in the exact same location, and he's a little bit quicker than me, which means that he picks up a few more sheep than I do, and gets a pretty good scout opening here. So obviously GUA, for anybody who's unfamiliar with GUA, one of the best players in the game at the moment, a really, really solid player. Didn't make it to Red Bull Wallalol this year, probably going to be trying for next year, I would suspect, but very talented. He's on the Abbasid, so it's going to be a key thing here that he's playing the Abbasid, but it is a strategy that you can use in every matchup. Now, there's a little bit of trickery that we use in this game, and so what we're doing is we're relying on our enemy to make an assumption that we're going for a second town center, because when they think that we're going for a second town center, what do? They too go for a second town center. So a huge part of this strategy is deception, but that is only a small... I know I just mentioned it as a huge part of the strategy, but realistically, it's only a small detail, because we're basically just forcing the enemy to make an assumption, and that assumption is wrong. But let's talk a little bit about how this game is opening up, because GUA here on the Abbasid dynasty, he's playing a civilization that he's very comfortable with. He's played plenty of games so far. It's not a bad matchup for the Abbasid, though I do feel at the moment it's definitely a China-favored matchup. Abbasid dynasty likes to spike in the late game. China gets there a bit earlier than most of the times. I feel very safe going 2 town centers against the Abbasid dynasty. There's not a whole lot of pressure that they can put out early. But that is something that GUA is going to be looking to switch up in this game. Typically, you do see players look to go for a second town center very quickly with the Abbasid dynasty, irrespective of what their enemy is doing, with the exception of, say, matchups against the French or against the Rus, where you're going to see an early night out on that stone, super duper early. They may add a barracks in to try and be a bit more defensive and then go for the second town center, but GUA is not going to be doing that this game. GUA is going to be looking to play one base. And you might be thinking, okay, well, that's a bit weird, playing one base against China. Well, I assure you, it doesn't always stay that way. Economic wing now coming in for GUA, and we begin to set the place, or the trap for GUA, because the age up is going to be coming through. Now, the build order that I'm using here is the Anomi build order. If you haven't seen this one, I think you could probably just search for like Chinese build order on YouTube. It will come up. This build order is the most efficient build order for a Song Dynasty and second town center. So you can actually get a second town center down at 5 minutes 50 consistently with Song Dynasty coming through as well. Now, there are ways to get yourself up to the to Song Dynasty much faster than this, but that's not the point of the build. The build isn't to get you up really quickly. It is to get that second town center out super fast and have a second Imperial official. So it's a great position. But you can see right there, GUA collecting a fair amount of sheep. He's got 12 sheep. So we've got 3. I think we took back 4 initially as well and had 3. So we're sitting on about 10 sheep. And I think we're going to take 2 from the top here. Yeah, there's one out here, and I think there's probably a second one somewhere that we are going to steal away. So GUA looks to play one base in this matchup. And what that does is that gives him a lot of priority. He thinks that he's also going to be able to deny the stone. But obviously, by denying the stone, you just allow us to... Well, you don't really achieve much by denying the stone against China, I don't think, because China can take stone so quickly. We talked about it before. You know, the reason why this town center, or why this build order is so good, is because you can get that stone so quickly. At 5 minutes 50, I don't need any more stone. It's all been taken. But the age up now comes through for GUA, and we can see that he immediately goes into the activation of the tier 1 Golden Wing? What's it called? Golden Age? Yeah, Golden Age. So the tier 1 for the Golden Age comes through at 4 minutes 20. So really nice timing there for GUA. Hits that super early. Mainly done with houses as well. And so by doing that early, it means that he doesn't have to worry about population space for a long time. Nice little TC hop right there. And we do see the first stable now coming down for GUA. He's going to be looking to apply some pressure over to the enemy side of the map. But meanwhile, what are we up to? We're just chilling out. We're still about to hit that Song Dynasty. There you go, 4 minutes 50 coming through. 3 villages on that. We're just looking to secure up the food. Want to make sure that our enemy, because we know that we didn't get a really good start. So if we had got, if we had got lots of sheep at the start, I wouldn't be securing the food. I would instead be securing the gold, and I'd be putting the Barbican probably right here. This is an amazing spot for a Barbican because it secures stone and gold. But we take a look at GUA's base. Stable's now up. Still yet to... Now we do actually see the Horseman is in queue, and he's picking up upgrades behind this. But still no stone being taken just yet. Now, if we have a look at from my perspective... Keep in mind, this was a ladder game that I just played earlier. And if you guys want me to be completely honest about why I played this ladder game, so GUA was streaming and I saw him, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna play the strategy against GUA because I want the devs to nerf stone walls. There is a reason why stone walls have been nerfed, or sorry, not nerfed, but rather have not been allowed in tournaments since Genesis in the Feudal Age, okay? I should probably say that a bit more clearer. There's a reason stone walls in the Feudal Age have not been allowed since Genesis. The very first tournament out of Age of Empires 4, as far as I can remember, didn't allow stone walls in the second age. This is why. There is a secret strategy. I've been holding onto this strategy for a really long time, keeping it in my back pocket. I don't use it on the ladder because if I do, people are going to rage at me. And I said, you know what? It's time. I've got to reveal it because this change needs to happen. So anyway, that's why we're here. That's why you're here. You're waiting for it. We do see the first of the Horsemen comes in. I've got a Spearman out, so I did scout his early stable. So I just said, well, we're just going to react by throwing down a barracks. And just put a Spearman out to either side. That should be more than enough. Now, we can expect that there's going to be a Camel coming in shortly. So we'll make sure that we add our archery range. Now, the trick here is that we just want to take 850 off this stone. Or rather, take 350 off this stone. So he thinks we're going for a second town center. That's the key. So as soon as he thinks we're going for a second town center, it makes it a lot more difficult for him because now he is anchoring, making an assumption that my enemy's going for a second town center. And look, I'll be honest with you guys. If you scout your enemy taking this much stone, you can pretty safely assume they're going to be going for a second town center. I think that's part of why this build order is so strong, or why this strategy, rather, is so strong. But now the archery range comes down, and now this is a very late archery range. Typically, if you're going for a one base play, you can get this archery down in about 5 minutes, 5 minutes 10, something like that. So we're about 2 minutes behind where we should be typically, but that's okay because we're not really going for that super fast rush. Rather, we're just going here, we're just massing up, that's it. So now just chilling out, just protecting. As soon as the Camel comes in, I realize that there's no way we're going to be able to hold this, so we're just going to have to fall back for now. But what we can do is we can use our Imperial officials to pick up all of that juicy gold around our base. There's plenty of it. So we're just going to utilize that. We're also going to take the gold that's in the middle. So these are all minor details. The larger strategy is in the works. And now, after GUA spots that I've taken my stone for a second town center, he says, I'm going to make a second town center as well. And that, my friends, is the nail in the coffin. Because whenever you make a second town center, you have to invest resources in that town center. And you also have to invest resources in the villages before they pay off. And it takes quite some time before they actually pay themselves off. With the Abbasid, it's much faster than other civilizations because the villages are so cheap. But it is still an investment of 700 resources that he's going to be putting towards his economy when that stone that I gathered, sure, I might have it in the bank right now. You take a look at, from my perspective, it's still sitting in the bank, but I can assure you there is a reason we have got that stone. We are going to be using it. And the wood that we had for the town center, well, we spent that on military production building. So now we're just spending all of our resources going all in. That is the idea behind this strategy. But remember, we are on Song Dynasty. So even at this point in the game, we're at 37 villages. Our enemy's only on 31. So we've still got a 6 economic unit lead at this point in the game, nice and early. So when it's not like, you know, we're out of this game at this point. We're still going quite heavily towards the economic side. Now here, I'm making a little bit of a mistake, but I say it's a mistake. It's not really. The mining or the lumber camp here could be extended, but it's not a big deal because this is such a small forest. But we do expand down to the south. So we start massing up Chukunu and Spearmen, just enough Spearmen to deter any potential horsemen, and we really want to mass up Chukunu. That's the whole idea. We want to spam out Chukunu. Ideally, we want to push with between 20 and 25 Chukunus is typically your best bet for when you can do as much damage. But GUA's done a great job this game at just being annoying. A lot of players would just be like, oh, well, he's got Spearman, I'm not going to bother attacking him. But GUA was constantly applying pressure. And we do see walls now coming up for GUA as well. So a further investment into defensive mechanisms that probably aren't going to do too much, considering we're not going for the second town center. No, we are going for the throat. That is correct. We're going to be focusing completely on this town center and on this House of Wisdom. And now a lot of people would say, well, Drongo, GUA's made a huge mistake. He's left the front of his base open. There's nothing here. Well, that's pretty standard. You don't want to put your production on the front of your base, because if you do, it's going to be the first thing your enemy targets if they ever look to push you. So typically we put it towards the back. But now GUA does spot out the infantry here. He did actually see it for a little bit. He's got the scout over here with a low health horseman. He did get a little bit of a glimpse in here at the spearman and the Chukunu, but continues to add in more production. And up until this point, he is playing into our hands, because now he's thinking about going to the Castle Age. Now, Castle Age can actually do quite well against this strategy, but there are good things and there are bad things about going Castle Age. Once again, investing a lot of resources in something that doesn't always happen can really punish you. But we do see in the middle of the map the scout moving across, and he does spot out the push. So now he has confirmation the push is coming. 19 Chukunu, 8 spearmen, and of course we are flooding in even more units to the enemy base. Imperial official just doing what it does best, looking to just test its limits, but fortunately he does survive. And now what we're going to do is what is patented. You guys have seen this build order before many a times. You know what is coming. It is going to be 1 ram. It's going to be 2 rams. And it's going to be 3 rams coming down. Come on, give me the 3rd ram. Now, one of the other things to note is that there are a lot of villagers here. 21 villagers. We are pulling absolutely everybody here. Now, to be honest, you could probably even pull all of the villagers if you really wanted to get your siege party going. But we're just going to pull 21. And once that 3rd battering ram completes, we begin. The stone walls come through. And the Chinese villagers build these much faster than normal villagers, because they are Chinese. And so now we push towards the enemy base with our stone walls, and he looks to try and take these villagers down. But remember, there's so many villagers. We don't care about losing the villagers. All we care about is getting the stone wall up, because once the stone walls are up, then the game is over. The battering rams move in towards the town center. Villagers jumping inside. We just chill out for the moment, and voila, we're now up on top of the stone wall. Spearmen going to be able to defend the entrance. Chukunu having their range extended by an extra 2 tiles now that they're on top. Villagers, we don't care if we lose them. We're down to 13 villagers. Whoop-de-doo, 13 villagers. You want to know what I can do with 13 villagers? I can build an empire with 13 villagers. You can take them all out. I really don't care. And now, with the extra range from the Chukunu, we're able to actually hit the back of the town center. If he ever tries to repair this town center, it will go down. The villagers will go down. So he's got no choice but to sit and mass and bide his time. But we are smart. We play this intelligently, and we bide our time as well. Now, he's done a great job on the backside here. My reinforcements are terrible. You can see I've only got a handful of units moving up, which means that right now I'm pretty much committing with everything that I've got. But the town center goes down. With the town center going down, what that means is that the enemy's only got 1 more landmark remaining. And it's this bad boy right here, the House of Wisdom. Now, you can do this in any single matchup, except for the Mongols. They're the only civ that you can't do it to. Now, what we're doing here is really, really important. We're clearing out our runway. We're clearing it for takeoff, because as soon as those houses are down, the wall begins extension. We really need to make sure this wall is extended all the way, because extending this wall all the way allows our Chukunu safety up until this point. And now the horsemen coming through. You can see the villagers underneath going to do a little bit. We pull back the battering rams here. He manages to surround 1. The other 2, however, are absolutely fine, because the Chukunu are able to fire down upon them. They've got that extra range from sitting up on top of the walls here. Not to mention that they take 66% less damage from anything that even tries to fight against this. Now, had he gone archers, it wouldn't matter. Why wouldn't it matter? Because the archers don't do any damage to our Chukunu. Our Chukunu have range to hit the House of Wisdom at the back. There's nothing he can do about this. And he's stuck in an awkward spot, because his horsemen, which are designed to kill our Chukunu, have got no no response at all because they literally can't get on top of the walls. The spearmen defend the entrance. The Chukunir just sit here. They're on hold position right now. That's all we're doing. We're just holding position. Spearman going to come forward. Once again, he's got quite a good mass here. But you can see he's down to 2,500 health. Pulls the villagers. But even if you pull the villagers, I'm just going to trade them out with you. I'm happy if you want to pull vills. And now we're burning, baby. And that's when things get real difficult. Chukunu, we're just focusing. We're just focusing down that House of Wisdom. That's all we care about at this point. And we're very happy behind this. But slowly, the House of Wisdom burns. He looks to try and repair it. We can see the villagers here with torches in their hands. But of course, the Chukunu on top of the stone wall. This is what makes stone walls in the feudal age overpowered. This strategy right here is single-handedly able to take you right now to... You could probably go to rank 2 on the ladder. I'll give you that. No, but in all seriousness... This is why stone walls need to be moved to the castle age. I've been holding on to this strategy for a couple of seasons and have intentionally not used it because I don't want it to get out there. But developers have said, well, I can't say what they've said, but let's just put it this way. We've been asking for a really long time for stone walls to be moved to the castle age. You can't play a tournament right now without that rule being in. So why do we still have stone walls in the feudal age? I'm going to keep abusing this until I get rank 1 on the ladder. And until then, I just hope that we get an official response because stone walls in the feudal age, it just doesn't feel right.